Hey YouTube, this is ILoveMyFro. I hope that you guys are doing well during these trying times. I just wanted to come on here and share something with you. Like I said in my last video, I just really want to show listeners how God's word, which is spiritual lore, is so relevant today. And I want to use stories and things that are happening today, not even stories, but life real life experiences and things that are happening in people's lives to show you that God's word is real and it's relevant. So I wanted to talk about like sex outside of marriage. And I think we're living in a time right now where women are starting to wake up to who they are, but not wake up to who they are. They're starting to wake up and realize that the lies that they have been fed about relationships and womanhood and mothering and marriage is not working for them. And instead of women backtracking and saying, okay, was I listening to society's definition of marriage or God's definition of marriage? And I'm going to use creator because I don't like to use the term God, because though our creator is God, when you say creator, like, that doesn't change, right? You know, our creator created human beings, and so he wired us all the same. And when I say wiring, I'm not talking about personality and all of that. I'm actually talking about biologically. And so he wired us all the same. And so you can't argue with biology, and we cannot argue with the fact that we have a creator. I mean, if you really feel like you just came out of nowhere, I don't even know what to say with that. But anyway, women are waking up to the fact that man's definition of marriage, man's definition of parenting, man's definition just of womanhood and just life in general is based on a lie. But God already told us to trust in him with all our heart, to lean not to our own understanding, and in all our ways, God will direct our path. We have allowed the culture, we have allowed men, we have allowed trends, we have allowed industries to tell us who we are, and it's not working out, and it has not worked out for us. Some of us have not come to that realization yet because life has not hit us yet, but it's coming down the pipeline because that's how life works. Christ said that anybody, our creator said, if anybody builds their life on anything other than his word, when the storms come, and the storms are coming, that whatever they have built will be washed away. And so those storms come, and I'm sure that we all have experienced those storms. So I said that to say this. Christ also said, and I'm going to use scripture, do not conform to this world. Love not the world, neither the things of this world. It says, do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Love not this world, and neither the things in this world. Why? Because the things in this world are created for us to disobey our creator. And what happens is we're having a good time, and then next thing you know, when it's time to pay the piper, somebody's a single mom, somebody's having abortions, somebody's getting a divorce. You find out that the married man that you finally got to marry you someone has taken your place as a mistress. Or you're dating someone who have sold drugs and you have the feds knocking on your door. I mean, I can go on and on. We get away with nothing, right? We get away with nothing. But I said that all to say this. So I'm sure all of you know that Ashanti is back with Nelly. And I just want to discuss sex outside of marriage because I was just thinking about this today. I'm not judging Ashanti. Ashanti just doesn't know any better. Like most of us as women, a lot of times we have to knock our head up against the wall for us to be like, some of us don't take accountability, and we have to knock our head up against the wall over and over and over again for us to finally wake up and be like, our creator is right. Because guys, you have to understand that spiritual law is spiritual law. Biological law is biological law. The laws of nature is the laws of nature. Physical laws, the laws of physics are laws. Okay, you can't legislate, you can't ignore them, and they don't stop working or materializing because of our ignorance or because we just don't think that they're real or we don't believe in them. And I have to say, like, one of the biggest mistakes we have made as human beings is thinking that if we don't believe in something, then it does not affect us. Now, you can say that about religion, you can say that about culture, you can say that about tradition, but you cannot say that about spiritual laws, natural laws, the laws of physics, the laws of nature, things that are written, things that make life and living things evolve, that make life, that actually govern life, I should say. So let me get back to Ashanti. So Ashanti is back with Nelly, right? Now, I don't know what happened with them because I really don't keep up with pop culture and with hip hop culture specifically. But I know that she used to date him back in the day. And I think they had a very volatile relationship. And maybe he was cheating with her. And maybe she was with him for a few years. And they finally broke up. And Nelly's 50. Ashanti is 42. She's married. I mean, she's single. She doesn't have any kids. And to my understanding, Ashanti wants to get married and have children. Nelly's 50 years old. Now, to my understanding, they're back together. And I'm seeing all this smiling and loving and this joy, right? And this is usually what happens when two people like each other. The problem here is that women don't understand how when men are into you, a man is into you, right? A man wants to go real fast. Men are the gas, women are the brakes. And when a woman knows who she is and she is aware of how she is wired, she is the brake. So she slows things down. One, if Ashanti dated Nelly and Nelly is a commitment phobe and he cheated on her and all of that, and he wasn't treating her well, the issue here is she's moving too fast with him. And I'm going to get into why she's moving too fast with him. But she's moving too fast with him. They just started seeing each other in October, and she bought him a car for his birthday. So when you do something like that with a man, right, that you've had a past with, and you guys broke up because of maybe cheating or he just didn't want to be in a committed relationship, right? You buying him a car, you're already putting all your cards out on the table. This man already knows that you want to be with him, you'll marry him, you'll have his children. There's no mystery there, right? And I'm going to tell you why she's doing this. Second, you're allowing this man to parade you up and down like he's like you're his wife, and you're not. You're buying him things. You're not his wife. You guys just started seeing each other. The holidays are coming up. You know, everybody is in that false holiday spirit. He is acting like a typical man. You know, he's hanging out with her. He's enjoying her slice of heaven. Okay? And he is just having a good time. But then one Monday morning, he's going to wake up as the average man. And he's going to go back to what he was doing before they started seeing each other. And he's going to start the pulling away, because now what's going to happen is when he looks at that car, he sees commitment. He sees obligation. He sees, you know, I like hanging out with her. All his stuff that he has not dealt with as a single man is going to come to the surface. And we don't realize that when we date, right? And we like someone, we don't get to decide what comes to the surface. Okay, just as much as your affections for this person and your love for this person is going to come to the surface, so are all the fears and the phobias. I think Nelly just got out of a divorce, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know he is divorced. Has he dealt with why he got divorced? Has he dealt with that? Like, was he a commitment phobe in the divorce? Did he marry for the right reason? You understand? I'm not putting this man down. I'm just using it as an example. Second, the reason why Ashanti is moving so fast with Nelly, because she's sleeping with him. And what happens, and I want you to listen to me very closely. You don't get to decide how much you bond with a man when you have sex with him. You don't. And you don't want to be one of these women out here who is so lost that you're bragging about not bonding during sex. Okay? God wired us to bond during sex because of bonding with children. dopamine and oxytocin kicks in, right? We don't get to decide how strong and how much we bond with a man. And the problem with Ashanti is making decisions based off of dopamine and oxytocin. She's being reckless. She's not being cautious with this man at all. She has this man parading her up and down like he has committed to her, like he is engaged to her, like he is going to marry her. You see all these photos with them hugging and kissing. He's around her family. They're most likely going to spend the holidays together. And she bought him a car. She gifted him a car for his birthday. And even some of the fans are saying she is moving too fast. It's because she's sleeping with him. Dopamine and oxytocin, it clouds our judgment. I'm not saying Nelly doesn't like her. I'm not saying Nelly is enjoying her. It's all over his face. But a man enjoying you is not the same as a man bonding. Men don't initially bond through sex. Men bond outside of sex. That's the way God made it. A man bonds by spending time with us. A man bonds by solving problems with us. A man bonds by doing activities with us. Ladies, this is why when you're dating a guy and you keep sex off the table and he realizes you're not going to sleep with him, he disappears. Because he doesn't want to bond with you, whether he knows it or not. You know, maybe he does know that's the way that he bonds. But if he's not in it, he's not going to stick around. And unfortunately, a lot of women don't find out a man has not bonded with them until they get pregnant. We cannot circumvent the laws of our Creator. There's a lot of women out here talking about men leaving them with children and all of that. And yes, that is true. However, it is 2023 and a man still has to ask to sleep with you. A man still has to ask not to wear a condom with a woman. A man still has to ask, can he leave his seed in you? A man still has to ask that. And we will continue to be single mothers. We will continue to get abortions. We will continue to suffer with these children until we follow our Creator's laws. There's no circumventing it. I don't care how great a guy is. Hey, there's no man who has lived or who will live or who is living now who is worth a child outside of marriage. Ladies, you have your God-given power. You have your God-given power. They're called boundaries. It's called wisdom. It's called knowing how you're wired as a woman, not as an individual, as a woman. It's knowing, you know what? I like this guy. And if I have sex with him, I'm going to bond with him. Because dopamine and oxytocin doesn't know the difference if a man is bonding with you or not. Dopamine and oxytocin don't care if he's married. Dopamine and oxytocin don't care if he's going to give you a disease. Dopamine and oxytocin don't care if he's going to pick up and leave you with a kid. Dopamine and oxytocin are selfish. They are hormones. They're like, ooh, sex, this feels good. We're bonded to this person. And that's supposed to be in the confines of marriage. This is why it takes us so long to get over someone that we have had sex with. This is why so many of you keep staying in unhealthy relationships. It's not because the relationship feels good. It's not because the relationship is healthy. It's because you have bonded with this person. And like I said before, those hormones don't know the difference. So many of you stay in these relationships because, oh, I invested so much, or you internalize. You think that the reason why this man will not marry you is because there's something wrong with you. It's not that at all. He's not your person. You didn't belong with him in the first place, but you've bonded with this man chemically like he is your husband. Now, some of you will listen to this video and get an attitude. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to listen, but you cannot argue with biology. You cannot argue with biology. And I will warn you, instead of trying to be a woman who does not bond during sex, be a woman that says sex is for a man who has bonded with me. Don't wait until you find out. Don't wait to find out a man has not bonded with you now when responsibility shows up in the form of a child, in the form of bills, in the form of real life. Because laying up and having sex is not all the time, is not real life. Waking up on Monday and going to work and solving problems and going through the ebbs and flows of life, that is real life. All of us have done this. And those of you who are not sexually active, or those of you who are abstaining from sex, you are smart. You are smart. You want to know why? Because you'll never have to worry about, one, trying to get a man to commit to you. You'll never, two, have to worry about that a guy that you're dating, is he serious about you or not? Because you're not invested, because you're not sleeping with him, right? You don't have to worry about a guy ghosting you after sex. You don't have to worry about a guy giving you a disease. You don't have to worry about finding out that you're sleeping with a married man. You don't have to worry about getting pregnant. You don't have to worry about having an abortion. You don't have to worry about, a reputation. You don't have to worry about those things. You don't have to worry about those things. And here is the thing, and I'm going to keep saying this. We all have the same creator, and we are all subjugated to the same laws. There are laws, and then there's social constructs like culture and tradition and religion. But when it comes to laws, no one can legislate the laws of flight. No one can legislate the laws of gravity. No one can legislate the law that tonight the moon is shining, and tomorrow, because of a law that is written in the heavens, the sun will shine tomorrow morning. You can't go in no courtroom and legislate that. You can't go in no courtroom and amend that. It is the same with biology. So those of you who are in situations where you're worrying why a guy is not calling you, you're worrying about, or you're always feeling maybe you're being used for sex, or when you sleep with a guy and you give him everything, he's left you. Yeah, that's the problem. Stop having sex with men. There are men online telling women to stop having sex with men, and women won't listen. And those of you, because I can hear you now, well, I don't bond during sex. You need therapy. Something has happened to you that you don't bond during sex. Especially if you like a gentleman. It's a wonderful thing to bond with a man who has invested in you. And ladies, I said it earlier, men don't bond initially through sex. So when you're bonding, he's not. Now, he may enjoy you. He's having a wonderful time. He likes you. He loves spending time with you. But loving spending time with us, a man loving and spending time with us is not the same thing as bonding. That's biological. He can't force himself to bond with you. And if you're sleeping with him, whether you realize it or not, you are the one that's taking away his ability to bond, his opportunity to bond. He needs that time where y'all are just going out and doing things together and solving problems. One or two things are going to happen. He's going to be like, I'm not into this because I just want some sex. And he's going to ghost and leave. And that's fine. Or he's going to bond with you. He might even find out maybe he was there just for sex. But the more he's around you, he's like, I really like this girl. I really want to get to know her. You decide that. I think sometimes it's not enough to tell women stop having sex with men. It's to explain why you don't want to do it. You are shooting yourself in your own foot. You're shooting yourself in your own foot when you sleep with this man that you like. One, you're going to get your judgment clouded, like I said before. Two, you're not going to know his motive. You're taking away the opportunity and ability to see this man's motive. Now, a guy can come along and pretend like he likes you, But if your judgment is not clouded, your woman's intuition, he's going to eventually show himself for who he is, right? Because you're not sleeping with him. And if you really sit down and talk to a lot of men today, men feel entitled to sex. They really do. But I'm a man, and ladies, this is what I'm saying. Like, even if a guy does wait to have sex with you, most importantly, it's very important to make sure that you are dating a man who, just like I said to us earlier as women, that his life is governed by his creator's laws. Not by what's in between his legs, not by what GQ magazine tells him, not by what he feels or he believes he should be doing. His life has to be governed by God's laws because, like I said, when the storms of life show up, it is going to show what your life is built on. Is your life built on our Creator's laws, or is your life built on Meg Stallion and Cardi B and pop culture? It happens all the time. All of these women that you see out here as single moms, listen to me and listen to me closely. All of these women globally that you see out here as single moms, they were having a good time. He was nice to her. He was taking her out. Or sometimes maybe they had a relationship where it really wasn't serious, but they were having a good time with each other. And she would ask him questions and he would answer. And then she showed up and told him that she was pregnant. And then reality hit the fan. How do you avoid that? Stop having sex with men. Stop having sex with men. Your eyes are going to be wide open. Women keep complaining about men. There's no need to complain about men. Exercise the power that God has given you. Boundaries, women's intuition, loving yourself, valuing yourself, walking in your purpose in life. Yeah, go out on dates if you want to, do all of that. But I am telling you, if we as women continue to sleep, and I'm seeing there's a shift with women. Women are finally waking up. But here is the thing. The problem is that we have all these kids who are fatherless. We have all these broken homes. And that's not going to go away because we have woken up. Our children are going to deal with abandonment issues. They're going to. And if we don't deal with this, then your son will have children outside of marriage. And then our daughters will have children outside of marriage. Because generational curses are real, y'all. They're real. At the end of the day, God has asked mankind, how long are you going to stand between two opinions? Either God is God and his word is right. Some people say, I don't believe in God. Okay. You don't believe in God. You have a creator, whether you want to admit to it or not. You have a creator. You have a creator. You have a creator. And every day you breathe, and every day you wake up, and every day you drink a glass of water, and every time you take a shower, and every time you walk, and every time you sit down, and every time you blink, and every time you swallow, and every time you defecate, and every time you have sex, and every time you laugh, and every time you cry, it's because you have an internal system that he has written, that happens automatically. He has written the code of life inside of you. You can't legislate your breathing. You cannot legislate the fact that you walk and you talk, you blink, you see. And there's no mistakes in that. It is perfect. And even when you sleep at night, you continue to breathe. And that in itself is your body functioning off of code, laws, precepts, a formula. Mankind gets to understand how science gets to understand how the earth works and how the body works through mathematical codes. Who wrote those codes? Who wrote those codes? I'm trying to get those of you, because I don't do religion either, but I'm trying to get those of you who are asking questions, or those of you who just are apathetic about life, to think. Think. Rain, wind, snow, the sun, the moon, food, nature, wildlife. Do they look confused? Do they act confused? When a hurricane comes, is it confused? When a tsunami comes, is it confused? A tsunami is following a mathematical code. It's following the laws of nature. My cat is following its biological makeup, which is a code, the laws of nature. You can't argue with these things. Stop letting society tell you who you are. Society can't tell you who you are. These people who are trying to tell you who you are, 6 months later you hear that they have died from a heroin overdose, or they're flying to a country molesting children. We cannot circumvent spiritual and natural laws and the laws of this physical realm. Fire does not stop burning because it's in front of a hospital. The people in the hospital will have to be evacuated. Fire does not stop burning because a 2-year-old doesn't know it burns. Gravity does not stop being gravity because a newborn baby is on a plane. Do you guys get like what I'm saying? Spiritual laws are just as stringent, and so are biological laws. No matter how you try to justify it, women today, yesterday, and tomorrow are always going to be single moms and used and abused and always left with the shitty end of the stick because we are circumventing God's laws. Now, are the men doing it? Yes, they are. But what men have done is that men have created a system down here where they don't have to be accountable for anything when it comes to women and children. They don't. Our government only wants men to be accountable enough to keep a job so they do not become a burden to society. When it comes to children, have a job, we'll take the little money out your paycheck. We don't give a damn if you don't see that little boy. We don't give a damn if you don't go visit that little girl. We don't care. Now you have some countries, where men, because they care about how they show up in society, and they care, and that's rooted in their ego. They care about how they look to other men. You have a lot of men who continue to take care of their wife and their children because of societal norms, because they will be shunned in society. But let me tell you something. You have millions of men. If it became the norm for them not to take care of their kids and not to be there for their wife, especially taking care of their children, they wouldn't do it. Because a lot of African men come to this country right here and they stop taking care of their children, if they have children here. So I would say the United States of America has created a culture where they want the male. Ladies, and it's very important for you guys to know these things, because I am telling you, you're dating men, you work with men, you commute with men, you worship with men, you're around men all the time. You need to make sure you have this understanding of these things in your arsenal. The Bible says that we suffer because of lack of knowledge. We're not aware of what is going on. Even if you're not dating, you need to be aware. In America, the powers that be do not want strong, sexually disciplined men. If you really look around and you're paying attention to society, and I'm just not even talking about today, even back in the day, right? America has created a system where they want men to stay in a perpetual state of adolescence. They want men to stay in a perpetual state of adolescence because then they don't stick around to raise children. They don't want to get married. They just want to play video games. They want to hang out. They want to go to the strip club. They want to hang out with their boys all the time. And they're not evolving. They're not growing. They're not maturing. And a mature man, an immature man cannot cohabitate with a woman and a child. I'm giving some of you who are living with men and you're trying to put your finger on it like, what is the problem? You are with a boy. He has the anatomy of an adult, but he has the mindset of a child. He's not mature. And that is something that he will have to deal with on his own. This all goes back to what I said earlier. Your boundaries, ladies. We're not supposed to be having sex outside of marriage with men. We're not supposed to be cohabitating and living with men. We're not supposed to be giving men the benefits of marriage. And they have not earned it. And the worst thing you can do is give a man something he has not earned. We see the results of that all around us. You want to know why men's disrespect is at an all-time high? One, they don't love and value themselves. Specifically black men. Specifically, black men know they're conquered. They know they're living in another man's system. They know that. And so they overcompensate with sex. They overcompensate with materialism. And they overcompensate with women. Right? Now, if you are giving a man the benefits of marriage outside of marriage, ladies, I'm going to say something to you, and I am telling you, for some of you, this is going to go over your head. And unfortunately, you're going to have to you're just going to have to go through a lot of pain to finally wake up. But some of you, you're not, ladies, let me tell you something. You don't have to go through what all other women have gone through to learn a lesson. Pay attention. Don't think you are better than the next woman. Character is everything. Pathology is everything. If a group of people have been socialized to behave a certain way, then that is their pathology. Your job is to make sure that when you meet that individual, that they have dealt with that pathology. And you don't ask them about it. You listen to them. You listen to them speak. You listen to how they speak about their past relationships. You pay attention to how they treat themselves and how they treat people and where they are in their life. That's how you know what a person's pathology is. Because at the end of the day, that's what you marry. That's what we're involved with. You're involved with the pathology of a person. And I'm going to end here. One of the reasons why men are at an all-time high of a disrespect for women. Because, like I said, men know they're conquered. Men do not like where they are, specifically black men. And there's a lot of jealousy because black women have figured out how to make this system work for them. Because we don't have the ego that men have. But what black women have made the mistake of doing, you have allowed these men to have access. We have allowed, I should say, these men to have access to us, right? And they're disrespectful. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And there was no, wait a minute, where are the boundaries? Why are we having all these children? Why are we taking our clothes off? Every time I feel like the more disrespectful men get, the more women take their clothes off. And that's because women don't know who they are. But there's one thing about men. Men are wired to earn. They are wired to earn. And a man may take something that he hasn't earned, but he's going to loathe himself for it, and he's going to loathe the person who gave it to him. So the reason why a lot of these men don't stick around with these kids, because though they like the fact that they can get free sex, and though they like the fact that somebody's going to give them a place to stay, and though they like the fact that they're getting away with all of this, on these things that they've been doing, they loathe themselves because they didn't earn it. And you become a reminder, and that child becomes a reminder. One, I don't have the finances to take care of a child. I don't have the finances to buy a home for a child. I can't pay for this child's schooling. I can't take out a life insurance for this child, for myself, for this child. I can't put this woman anywhere. I'm living in her house. I'm eating her food. I am telling you. And that man, you may think, well, you can stay here and I'll do this for you and I'll do that for you and I'll buy this for you and I'll buy that for you and I'll help you find a job and I'll do all of this for you. The more you do that with a man, the more he is going to feel disrespected and he's going to feel emasculated. And he may not even know what's going on. But now you do. So those of you who have men living with you and you can't figure it out, why he's always cranky and why he's always this and why things are not working out, you are his benefactor. You're taking care of him. And though a side of him may feel like, yeah, I got her to do this for me. Again, a man can't go against his wiring as well. God wired the man to earn. Get in laws. Get in step with what governs you. Get in step with your wiring. Understand the wiring of a man and understand your wiring. Ladies, the reason why many of you change when you get a broken heart is because you was not basing your identity off of your creator. Your identity was based off of, oh, I'm going to get a husband. Oh, I'm going to get a good man because I cook and because I clean or because I don't act like all these other women out here. And then you got with this guy and he dogged you out. And now you are out here acting like a two-bit floozy. And when you look at it, your life is still centered around a man. Make sure your identity is wrapped up in the one who created you. Make sure your identity is wrapped up in the one who created you. So when things change and things go south and things don't work out the way that you want them to, you are steadfast, unmovable in your identity in your creator and not in a fickle man or not in a trend or not on a TikTok song or some rapper song or pop culture. Because pop culture is like the wind. It's here, there, and everywhere. And nowhere at the same time. So I hope you guys can really hear my heart. I hope that this video will answer some questions for some of you. I would love to keep dropping these nuggets of wisdom. So we can continue, or some of us can start to make better choices in our life. And ladies, take accountability. I'm hearing a lot of single mothers say things like, he turned me into a single mother. No, if you have sex with a man outside of marriage and you get pregnant, one, you guys are not married, so you are single. You are single. And so you got pregnant as a single woman. You have a boyfriend, but that a boyfriend is not commitment. The unfortunate thing you did was, again, you bonded, and the natural order of things is when you bond with a man is procreation and cohabitation. He didn't bond that far. It has nothing to do with, are you worth being a wife? You didn't know, but you know now. You know now. And now you can take accountability for it and you can make better choices for yourself. If you like a guy and he's a good guy and you're hanging out with him, don't sleep with him. There's a lot of other stuff that you guys could be doing, talking. Find out, ask questions. Does sickle cell run in your family? Does mental illness run in your family? How was your childhood? Have you dealt with your childhood? What are your triggers? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you want to get married? What does marriage look like to you? And you continue to have those conversations as you get to know each other, because sometimes it's going to change. But you are a single mom because you disobeyed a law. This man picked up, and when the responsibilities came, he left. Now this co-parenting stuff, listen, co-parenting takes character, which is integrity. It takes maturity. It takes integrity. And if those things were there in the first place, these two people would not be in that situation. I always say people who are in relationships, a relationship usually breaks down because of selfishness, because of lack of maturity, lack of emotional intelligence, lack of emotional maturity. And then all of a sudden, when people break up, you still continue to see that behavior, lack of boundaries. And you see it where people are not broken up, but there's still all this turmoil because you're just going to bring that in another stage of the relationship. This is why people can't co-parent. Because if you were mature enough to co-parent, you're mature enough to stay together. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. I hope that this video will help some of you. It's not for all of you, and that's fine. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if it's something that's going to help you, love yourself more and value yourself more, or for some of you who needed some questions, some answers to some internal questions that you had, you're in a relationship and you're trying to figure things out, I hope this gives you some clarity. Now, I'm wishing Ashanti the best. I can't even say I'm wishing Ashanti the best because, listen, I'm neither here nor there. I'm not invested in these people's business. But I did see, and I'm just like, wow, she already bought him a car. They've just started seeing each other in October, and it's November. And I said, it's the dopamine and oxytocin. And we've all have been there. I've never bought nobody no car, but we've all have been there. I know that as a woman, that my dopamine and oxytocin is for my husband. That's if I ever get married. If that don't happen, that's fine too. But whatever, that's for me. I bond with myself. I bond with my friends. I bond with my family. I bond with my pets, right? But that deep level of bonding is for a man who has bonded with me. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys. Take care.